What's up, you filthy casuals? Welcome to the Casual Shenanigans Gaming Podcast, a podcast all about the irreverent love of gaming. I'm one of your hosts, Jeremiah. Tonight I am joined by Joel.
Hey, guys.
James.
What's up?
And Dave.
Joel, you're so happy tonight.
Welcome back to the show. This is the first time we've had all of us together since episode 150, so in 2 weeks. Dave, how did your Fallout 4 contest modding thing go?
I'm actually having a hard time remembering stuff from the last 2 weeks. Like, I'm redoing my calendar because I didn't process anything besides my task list. But I made the submission, despite Bethesda's broken tools in the creation kit. The nav meshing was broken, but all the environment stuff and all the objects, I actually got them completed.
Cool. And you've submitted it into the contest, and we can't vote on it until we know if you're a finalist, right?
I'll know if I'm a finalist July 10th or 11th when the public voting goes live.
And
now, is it based on public voting, or is it loosely based on public voting?
As usual with NVIDIA contests, it's not super clear. Round 1 is NVIDIA judges. Round 2 is public voting. There's no real word of, like, which one of those is more important. Is the public voting important at all? We don't really know. But there'll be public voting in the finalists, is all we know. Yeah.
So if it does go live before this podcast gets uploaded, I'll put stuff in the description. If not, we'll talk about it next week. But
yeah.
Have you looked at some of the other mods out there?
I actually have completely unplugged. Like, Sunday night, I had spent... Oh, man. Like, Friday night, I worked from... I took a 3-hour nap after work on Friday, worked until 6 a.m., slept from 6 a.m. to 12 p.m., got up, drank coffee, worked until 7 a.m. Sunday, slept for 5 hours, got up, worked until 11:45 p.m. Sunday, submitted the mod, closed the page, and I had done nothing else related to it besides reply to a few of the comments in the video since then. Honestly, that's probably one of the worst crunches I've ever done. I don't anticipate doing that in the future.
How bad do you want to work in the games industry?
Less now.
Dave, that reminds me of my master's classes.
So yeah, I think maybe this weekend I'll do some looking around. I heard that a few of the other long-term Fallout modders submitted some stuff, and it's a few names that I actually recognize, even though I wasn't really big into Skyrim modding. I played a few mods, but mostly vanilla, so I'm kind of late to the game. But a few of the names that I heard were possibly submitting stuff I'd be totally okay losing to, because they're really good. On the other hand, I put like a sinful amount of hours into this, so if I want to be okay with it.
Cool. Well, we will keep you guys updated as we learn more about it, or as soon as we know, as soon as we can game the system with votes, we'll let you know. Just kidding. Don't do that. But we will let you know when but you can go check it out now, though. Dave, can we put a link in the description of this that people can go to download it just for PC, right? It's not on Xbox One or PS4 yet?
Yeah, the early alpha version, which is what I submitted, is live on PC on Bethesda.net, but not on the Nexus yet, because I don't want to submit the broken version to the Nexus with the broken pathfinding just yet.
Okay, if you can send me a link, I'll put it in the description if people want to download it, check it out. How many downloads have you gotten so far?
I imagine it's not a lot, because I can actually bring it up here just a second. No one on PC uses Bethesda.net, because honestly, the site's a bit ramshackle right now. Like, it was a bit rushed, very console-like interface. About to hit 1,000 downloads and 1,000 favorites, about 10,000 views so far. But just as a comparison, that's pretty good. 1,000 downloads, 10,000 views. I made a bridge, it's like a broken, rickety bridge for the Sanctuary settlement as a test for the upload system last week. So I did not want to submit like 11th hour and just have all the upload stuff break. But I uploaded it to Xbox One as well. And as a reminder, Bethesda.net for Fallout is the only way to get mods on console. Like, they don't have all these huge third-party fan sites with literally millions of downloads. So it's it's a 39 kilobyte bridge for the Sanctuary Hill settlement. It's gotten in 7 days now 170,000 views.
Wow. Damn good bridge.
10,000 downloads and 11,000 favorites.
Wow.
For a 39 kilobyte bridge that I made in like literally 20 minutes to test the upload system.
You should make more Xbox mods.
Yes.
And then put your Patreon link on some of the textures on the bridge.
All the flags like flicker to like donate. Donate.
Hey, I found a cool Patreon site that I thought was pretty awesome if you guys want to donate to.
We're talking about possibly doing a sponsorship.
Yeah. Like a friend sent it to me. Guy seems pretty cool. Does some file stuff.
I stumbled upon it. Guy seems really cool.
Yeah, I downloaded this cool mod. And honestly, guys, like, it wasn't like a really big mod. It was just like this kind of little bridge thing. It wasn't a huge deal, but it was a really good feeling. Like, it was just a really cool feeling to just download that mod, and I really liked it.
Be right back. I gotta get my Hummer. Be right back.
Joel leaving to get a Hummer. What's new?
Oh, man.
I will crush you with my Hummer because you said that.
That's not where that was going. All right, announcements. We have a Snapchat now. After all of Joel's making fun of Snapchat,
Why?
Joel runs the Casual Shenanigans Snapchat, right? It's the same as our Twitter, Casual Shenanigans.
Yep.
Yeah.
That does
So
make me happy that Joel's running it.
check it out. I have no idea what's on it. I can't look at it. I just tried and it didn't work. So yeah, that's it. We have a Casual Shenanigans Snapchat. I don't know if I'm gonna put that in the description yet. But on to our main topic this evening. Counter-Strike gambling. Everybody at this point has heard about it. We're not just gonna rehash the same drama that's blowing all over the internet, but a brief recap of what's going on right now, just in case somehow you're listening to this and you have no idea what's going on, which would mean that you stay away from enough of the internet that you've missed on most of the drama. Good job. YouTubers T. Martin and Syndicate.
Pro
Are
Syndicate,
both-
I think.
There's Pro Syndicate, like Psy Syndicate and Syndicate. There's a bunch of syndicates. Anyway. Well, now you make me want to look. Now I'm going to stop and go check it out.
The two main ones are T. Martin and Pro Syndicate.
Pro
Psy
Syndicate,
Syndicate is one who
He
didn't
outed
own the
himself.
site, but
Yeah.
he did some of the betting
Okay.
videos. Yeah.
Okay, so they are big Counter-Strike Go players. They used to be big Call of Duty players, but they jumped ship like all of the other rats did. And they've been making Counter-Strike Go videos. And a big thing that's popped up in the Counter-Strike community is, if you're not actually good at playing the game, or even if you are good at playing the game and you're looking to fill content, there's these things in the game, there's cases you can open. You unlock them by playing the game. It's like getting a Steam trading card or hats or something in Team Fortress 2. And you get these crates and you can buy keys to open them, and there's weapon skins in them. Weapon skins, fancy knives, stuff like that. They don't make anything perform any different. It's nothing pay to win, but it's cosmetic stuff. And that's a little bit of a way for Valve to not charge a monthly subscription fee for some of these online services like Dota, but it's a way for them to still make money off of it while giving the community another little thing to do, because every time they do a transaction, Valve takes a little bit of a cut, just like they do with anything sold on the Steam marketplace. So a lot of people have started these videos where they buy a bunch of keys and open a bunch of boxes on stream, because you're kind of like rolling the dice to see if you're going to get a super rare one. And they act all hurt and everything when they don't get fun stuff, and there's a lot of yelling and screaming. And some of these videos get 500,000 or 600,000 views, which really makes me sad when I think about how much work I put into the Potato Masher video. Look at Joel's
It hurts
face.
Joel physically.
So, and granted, these are people who have built up large audiences. They're not just getting that many views because they're opening cases. They're getting that many views because they have, because they've built up an audience. So, out of that sprung gambling sites where you log in with your Steam ID to this site and you kind of throw some of your skins, weapon skins, into the pot. And a bunch of other people throw them into the pot like a poker chip. It's like throwing a poker chip in, a virtual poker chip. And then you gamble and you win something or you don't win something or lose something. Which that in itself is not necessarily illegal. It's a little digital thing you won by playing a game, and you can trade it with other people or give it away or do whatever you want. It has no actual monetary value, except other third-party sites have sprung up that let you sell those, and you can sell them if they're in your Steam account. So it's not exactly like laundering skins, like laundering money, but like the end function is
Basically laundering skins for money.
you can gamble things you got in a game or won from other people and turn it into actual real world money, which is already problematic. But these two YouTubers, T. Martin and Syndicate, they have been pimping this site, CSG Lotto. There's a bunch. CSGO Lounge, CS Lotto. I'm not going to name more of them. They don't need
There's
any help.
just- probably
CSG
like-
Lotto. Oh no, we're
No,
connected.
CS Lotto, sorry.
There's like 15 of them. There's
yeah.
a bunch of clones.
So, and they started talking about this probably this time last year, a couple months ago, something like that. And they presented it as, oh, this cool site. They might be sponsoring me. Check it out. And then they had lots of videos of them winning on the site, like winning $13,000 worth of skins. Lots of winning. Of course, you figure, oh, they're just cutting together compilations. These are Call of Duty YouTubers. So if they're good at anything, it's cutting down a bunch of mediocre gameplay into 5 minutes of gold and posting it. And you know, the people who are interested in it are interested in it. The people who aren't. A lot of the people who are interested in it are young people, young kids, the Call of Duty community. And it gets problematic. Someone did some digging. I think the original guy's name is what? Under Honor? Is that the original guy's? Yeah. Under Honor.
He had about 2,000 subs when he found this research and I saw 10,000 in a day after this exploded.
Woo. And so what happened is he did some digging and found out that not only are they sponsored by CS Lotto, not only do they use CS Lotto, they own CS Lotto.
And not only do they own CS Lotto,
Oh, hold on.
but they
founded. Okay, that was going to be the next surprise. So
Oh, sorry.
they own CS Lotto, which is a giant conflict of interest. Anyone who's ever owned a casino knows, and that's probably not many people who listen to the podcast. But the way it works is you don't gamble at your own establishment because it's a conflict of interest, meaning it is in your best interest for you to win. And if you're supposed to set it up so that it's fair or everybody has the same chance, it's harder for people to believe you if you have a vested interest in winning and you also own the company. Giant conflict of interest. And then they immediately started backtracking. Syndicate wisely went silent pretty much immediately. T. Martin is like 22 and an idiot. And we're going to kind of get into the whole kids blowing up and becoming famous on YouTube. He's made more money than I've ever made. Like, he's a millionaire and he's 22. Good on him for that. He's built a very successful personal brand. He's made a lot of money. He's entertained a lot of people. Nothing wrong with any of that. But
the scams have gone really well.
Yeah, he started shooting his mouth off a little too much. And he said, oh, no. It's different. So when I said originally that they contacted me and I thought they were pretty cool, maybe they're going to endorse me. I didn't own them then. They just contacted me and I later purchased a stake in it. And H3 Productions, I may not be saying that right. They did some more digging. Ethan from there did some more digging. And they're actually the founders. They're the incorporators on the official business documents as CEO or president and vice president, CEO and
basically,
CTO.
yeah. Numbers 1 and 2 founders.
Yeah, and that's on the original business documents, regardless of who owns it at any given time. When you incorporate the business, that stuff is written down. So they had been completely lying about this the entire time. And the dirt keeps coming. Someone dug up a live stream.
Oh, yeah. Can I stay on this one for a second here,
yes, you
Jeremiah?
can.
Because
Yes, you
this
can.
is so good. Because I was talking to Jess about this tonight because it just blows my mind. What's the quote from Gabe Newell where he says that, like, if you lie to the internet will find out.
And they will
right?
not forget.
And they will not forget. This is especially true if you are a YouTuber and a live streamer and an entertainer and your job is to create content and you live stream like your entire life. When you sit on a lie this big, there's going to be so much evidence. Like you can't shovel the dirt to cover it up fast enough because you've live streamed everything. It's all out
So
there.
you have to remember every time you messed up.
Yeah, and if you're sitting on lies this big, it was T. Martin, right? He was the one who had the live stream where when he
Yes.
first discovered the site, he's on stream going, guys, a friend of mine sent me this cool site, hadn't been there before, went on there, it's cslotto.com. I won like a $60 pot. Wasn't really a big deal, but it makes me cringe so much knowing how much he's lying. He actually says the words, how did he put it? It was just such a cool feeling, guys.
It's a
Winning.
rush.
Yeah.
Of winning. I'm like, man, that's the kind of thing that like is gonna get like a kid's attention. Like, it was a cool feeling, guys. That just makes me cringe so much. And he live streamed himself saying that. Take it away. I love the idea of them live streaming this entire lie for the whole time.
Not only that, but in a live stream, he accidentally tabbed over to another Steam account that was called CS Lotto Bot number 5, I think. So he was logged into
my
a
God.
bot account on the site, which instantly makes everyone think, are they manipulating results to make it look like they're winning more to make people use their site more? And of course they said no. And of course nobody believes them because you've already been caught lying about this much. Why would you be telling the truth about anything else? And it's problematic because all you have to do as an underage person to gamble on this site and turn it into money is lie about your age. There's no way to enforce it. So I think at this point they lawyered up because T. Martin came back with an apology video the other day, and it was so bad. It was like the textbook way to not make an apology video. It starts out with him talking to his dog, fluffing up the puppy, going, I don't know how I'm going to make this video. It's so hard. Blah, blah, blah. Then he looks straight into the camera like a soulless robot and reads off the statement his lawyers have prepared. But he prefaces it and follows it up with, but guys, you guys mean so much to me. You've done so much for me. This community has done so much for me. I'm so
look at this
grateful.
house behind me.
Yeah, look
you
at
guys
this
have done
giant
so much
house.
for me.
Look at this shit you guys have done for me.
He's recording it in the mansion of his giant house with like his twisted metal modern staircase and his giant truck visible out the front door. And he like visibly and dramatically, after playing with the dog, collects himself to make this difficult video. Like he actually goes in the video like, guys. And I was like, skin crawling. It's just
So
terrible.
anyway, the reaction was really, really bad. And then he pulled the video a couple hours later. And he has since, both of them have unlisted or removed all of their CSGO gambling videos. And most of them, I think they've turned off comments on all their videos too, because things are so bad right now. And as predictably, a lot of their fan base, who remember are young people, a lot of these guys and girls are, mostly guys, are teenagers or middle schoolers, the Call of Duty commentator crowd. So a lot of them don't know any better. So give them the benefit of the doubt. But a lot of them are defending them as, guys, they just messed up. They messed up. It's everybody makes mistakes, blah, blah, blah. T. Martin tweeted out, do as I say, not as I do. Haha, everybody messes up. I'll be better in the future.
He posted an apology tweet with LOL in the middle. I just imagine his lawyers going, no,
and here's where I'm thinking, maybe T. Martin also, he's kind of young too, and he blew up on YouTube. He might not know the type of trouble he's in either, which is what I'm kind of guessing.
I would.
I think now he probably has a better idea of how much trouble he's in. This is what's called a crime, where you break the law, and when it comes to breaking the law in regards to gambling, the government does get fairly interested at that point. The FTC
they get interested on a federal level, not just the cops are knocking on your door, but like
the
people
federal,
showing up in SUVs.
The federal
Freaking
Trade
Will
Commission.
Smith, like from like Men in Black, they're gonna show up, take you away.
So anyway, so that's generally what's happened, and we're not gonna. The drama's fun. I don't really like YouTube drama at all. This one has been so fun to follow though because it is such a train wreck.
You missed one more backpedal too, Jeremiah, besides all the apology videos and fake apology LOL tweets. And the founding documents were out there for everyone to say, or to see if they had just thought to connect us and look them up. There was the attempt for them to say, in the description of all the videos, guys, it says made in affiliation with CSGO Lotto, which first of all is not enough of an upfront statement that we own this site. Like, this is actually our site. It has to be like upfront. Everyone has to be able to see that it is your site in the video, not in the bottom of the description. Someone thought to bring up I believe the Google archive page for all their videos, and you can see where they had gone through in like one day and added that line to all of those video descriptions after the news broke.
Which is also stupid because people can use the Internet Wayback Machine and see that you did that.
Yeah. So now it's not just like, oh, I forgot to put it in the description. My bad. It's I tried to put it in the description before anyone noticed it wasn't there.
Yeah, then I tried to cover it up. So what we want to talk about is the Valve side of this. Mm-hmm. Obviously, those guys messed up. They broke the law. There's not a lot of laws regarding online gambling of video game stuff. Not having laws doesn't mean it's not morally or ethically wrong, and doesn't mean it won't be made illegal. But it's one of those things that's kind of a new area. Esports is still being accepted as like a legitimate sporting enterprise. So gambling weapon skins, like just imagine the Supreme Court hearing that case, that it's just, we got a long way to go. There's probably going to be some some laws that come out of cases like this, though.
On a side note, wouldn't it be great if that judge who recently learned Java for the Google versus Oracle settlement, like, gets this case? He's like, all right, guys, I'm going to learn how to play Counter-Strike. I'm going to get really good at it. I'm going to start trading some skins. I'm going to get into this thing and do my due diligence. He's like, his name in game is like, says like, Your Honor.
So we're going to run through how this works. And we're going to talk about at what point is Valve complicit and at what point are other people just using this for something else. Because an important thing to keep in mind, like, everybody's been all over G2A recently because maybe it's hard to know 100% for sure. There's a very good chance there are a number of stolen keys being sold on the site. And G2A's defense has kind of been that they're like eBay. They haven't said that directly, but you can sell stolen stuff on eBay. That is not directly eBay's fault. eBay is an open marketplace. If they find you breaking the rules, they will ban you, but plenty of people can, just like Craigslist. People sell drugs on Craigslist. You just have to know what you're doing. So in some way, this is like that. Valve is not offering gambling on Steam. Like, for anyone who's not 100% sure what's going on, that's not how this is working. So how this works is you get the skins from Valve at just like you would get trading cards or anything else. You
or hats in TF2.
You can log into an external site with your Steam ID, which is not Valve's fault. The OpenID login system, like when you go to a website and they let you log in with your Facebook ID or your Google ID or something like that, that is actually to protect you. That means when you're doing a login, the site sends the login information, like it lets Facebook handle it. So this third-party site never sees your username, never sees your password. They're not storing any of your data. That's all handled at Facebook. The thinking being that Facebook is more secure and has a lot more people to devote to this. And Facebook likes it because it's more traffic for them.
More info for them.
So, well, yeah. So it's kind of like an everybody wins thing. Now, do you guys have any issue with people being able to log into an external site with their Valve ID, given that's how the system works? Ignoring the whole gambling thing, just let's do this piece by piece. The logins, is that an issue?
I don't think so.
Actually, it works for tons of sites. I just bought a copy of the Arma Complete Collection from Bohemia Interactive, and to redeem it for my brother, I had to log in with my Steam account and like link it to the Bohemia account through that same Steam login system. Like, it's used for a lot of stuff.
For Humble Bundle too?
Yeah. Let's back up one more. Do you guys have any problem, and I'm saying legality issues, do you guys personally have any issues with Counter-Strike giving people weapon skins that they can trade with other people? Given that they don't affect how you play the game, it's purely cosmetic.
I mean, I have a personal opinion that it's
You think it's
junk,
dumb. You think it's dumb,
yeah,
but like, is it
I don't think it's
wrong?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, it's not balance changing, so I think it's okay.
It's not balance changing, but when they realize that it's kind of an accessory to...
Well, I'm not... We're just going piece by piece. Yeah. Who knows what's going to happen from now on?
But this is like just started. It's
No,
not
it's
like
been going on
gambling
for
sites
months.
popped up.
It's less than a couple years old. I mean, it's like a year old where this whole thing's blown up. So this is a fairly new phenomenon.
But you would think... Okay, we'll get there.
Okay, so you can now log in. You guys don't have any issue. You can log in with your Steam ID onto one of these third-party sites, just like Humble Bundle or just like Bohemia. You know, it's not unique. So that, no issue. Now, when you gamble, this is similar to things that plenty of other games have had, where if you have, usually you can do it in-game, where you have something you won in-game. You didn't directly pay money for it. You were given it by playing in the game. It doesn't actually have any value per se, and you can trade it or something with other people. Do you guys have any issue with that?
Say that one more time.
Being able to gamble with something you won in-game that you did not pay any money directly for. It's just something that's a byproduct of playing the game. So it doesn't technically have any worth, and you can gamble with other people for their similar items or trade with other people for their similar items.
Not including money?
Right,
values?
not money, just not in-game money, just things. Digital currency.
Yeah, I mean...
I got a thought on this.
I do have an issue. Because
Okay.
when you go to a casino, you're not necessarily gambling money, you're gambling chips.
Right.
And so I think that's where it gets to be a little unethical.
But now those chips can be cashed out at the casino. Valve does not offer. We're going to again piece by piece. Valve does not offer a system for doing that. So,
and
Dave.
Actually, what I was gonna mention is like I agree with James here. Like you're gambling with chips basically, but I hesitate to say Valve, bring the banhammer down on this, because before some of these sites popped up, there was a large community gambling and trading these skins through just the Steam trading system. Mm-hmm. And there was a lot of scamming going on. Like people were losing hundreds and thousands of dollars of skins because there wasn't a theoretically neutral third party to do it through. So that leaves me to ask, like, I don't like it that it's going on, but I feel like before these third party sites existed, it was even more dangerous, like even more of like a Wild West going on.
And then, so there is a little bit of, there is a court case. There's a precedent here for this particular scenario called Mason versus Machine Zone, where the plaintiff, Mason, was suing about the casino area of Game of War, which I think is one of those mobile games. I think I've seen ads for it. It's got a very generic name. But players can bet in-game currency in order to receive rewards. And the case was that's a gambling device, and that the $100 this person lost was a result of unfair competition. The court did not rule in Mason's favor. And I'm reading this from PC Gamer's excellent article on this whole thing, which will be linked in the description. They went so far as to call comparing the value of in-game virtual gold and in-game rewards to the value of real money a whimsical undertaking that has no place in a federal court, because Game of War does not offer payouts of real-world money. Mason had transformed her money into valueless play money, the court says. The plaintiff was not wagering with dollars. She was playing with virtual gold. The decision reads, plaintiff acquired that gold in the gold store, where she exchanged her real-world currency for a non-transferable, revocable license to use virtual currency for entertainment purposes. At the moment of that antecedent transaction, plaintiff's loss, if any, was complete, meaning when she bought the in-game currency to gamble with, she then lost the money, not when she gambled it.
Ooh.
And there she had swapped something of real value for something of whimsy, pretend gold. So that makes sense in the context of this, where once you buy gambling money that you can only use in the game and you can never get back out of it, you have lost the money already. And if you get any entertainment out of it, that is purely a side benefit to hopefully the enjoyment you get out of gambling with it. So
that makes sense.
By that court decision, it would seem like, no, gambling these, even if you pay money for some of these skins and then gamble with them, you've already taken the loss by buying the keys to unlock the cases and everything else. Okay. Well, here's the problem. Valve in the Steam store has an open digital market operated by Valve that has pricing information on the weapon skins and what they sell for. And once people transfer these to the bot accounts that work off the CSGO or CSGO betting sites, they can be then transferred to their Steam account. Their winnings can be transferred. And then you do have something you can sell. You can sell it for Valve's currency, which again can only be spent at the company store, or there are third-party sites that let you sell them for actual money. And it's a little bit of a process to jump through to get it, but you can totally do it. Now, I think you guys, would I be correct in assuming that we all have an issue with the selling it through a third-party site for real-world money?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I think so, yeah.
So Bryce Bloom, which is one of the 3 lawyers who specialize in gaming, gambling, or esports, they were doing an AMA on Reddit on r/Global Offensive, and Bryce Bloom said, for my money, this is a no-brainer that this will be considered gambling by the law because the secondary market is prominent, permitted to exist by Valve, and skins have widely known value because you can check them in the store. That being said, there is not a case directly on point here, so it's impossible to say for certain. And then Jeff Ifra says, the question is whether the skins are a thing of value. Generally, in traditional gambling cases, this means cash or chips. Skins, even with secondary markets, hold their value because of the gaming, which puts it squarely in the virtual world. If the skins are virtual things of value, using them for gambling would be okay under most laws. But, it's instance, there are ways of paying real money, whether it's through PayPal or Bitcoin or whatever else. You pay somebody real money with the promise of them just trading you that skin. That's an issue. Now, this is not directly because of Valve. Valve has not set any of this up, but Valve has kind of turned a blind eye because, whether this is directly why, but any transaction through the Steam market, Valve takes 5% off of any Steam market sale. They take 15% of the price of any items from Valve games like CSGO, Dota 2, and Team Fortress 2. So if someone sells a $30 op, Valve gets $4.50. If that person sells to someone else, Valve gets 15% of that sale. Valve gets 15% of every sale of a Valve-owned property.
Every time it's transferred.
Every time it's transferred, and they get 5% of other things. So, now we're here to talk about what should Valve do differently. And let's just open the floor up to discussion here. First, do you guys think Valve
Joel, you look horrified.
Do you think Valve has been turning a blind eye? There's no evidence.
First, I was going to say, before you saying Valve is turning a blind eye, we don't know that.
We don't know, but we do know there's no evidence as of yet that Valve has been complicit in helping minors gamble. So let's just be very clear.
They might not have been turning a blind eye, but they've been very silent on the whole thing.
Well, the turning a blind eye, perhaps.
Right. Well, I mean,
turning a blind eye kind of sounds almost intentional.
That's true.
But
I mean, because if you think about it, how would they stop? How would they be able to stop it outside of just stopping all of it?
They
stopping
would
all
everything.
of it.
They would all of it entirely.
They would revoke their API access to third-party sites known to do gambling. So if you're a gambling site, you no longer have Valve's OpenID system. That won't prohibit from people starting their own forum and saying, here's what I got, but they wouldn't be able to log in with their Steam account.
Do we know if there's any other uses that people use for third parties that are not gambling?
Yes.
That those people are being taken away. They're like, that's something that we really love.
Like the Humble Bundle thing Dave was talking about. Like anywhere where you would log in with your Steam ID, but on those
sites, you don't even really need it for Humble Bundle now.
I'm talking about specifically with the items, not necessarily gambling, but is anyone else using?
No, they're just they're cosmetic. I mean,
no.
It's not like
Valve. It doesn't put restrictions when you log into with your account. You're logged in. Valve, I don't think is restricting it by a per item basis. I don't know if they can or not, but I don't believe they are.
And there are private communities like on I think Reddit and stuff like that where people trade skins outside of like an actual website, where it's just a way to find people who have things of equal value and make trades and stuff like that.
Right. So, yeah.
And I don't know if they're actually actively turning a blind eye, but the skin trading and the scamming has been going on for a long while. Basically, as soon as the system started to get value added to it, it started happening. They've cracked down on scammers and stuff like that.
They track down on scammers so they get paid.
Yeah. And so people stop, taking up their support tickets too, I'd imagine. The gambling and stuff like that's been going on for well over a year now because, Jeremiah, you haven't dropped the number yet, have you? The monetary value of the trading and the gambling last year?
Go ahead.
It's 2.3 billion with a B, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the estimated from Bloomberg.
Yeah. And what blew my mind is one of the articles said like the pornography industry in the US is like 10 billion. So that's $2.3 billion. Now,
is that just CSGO or is that Dota and Team Fortress as well?
It might be all online skin trading gambling profit.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but like that comparison, that made me step back and go, okay, this is about to have some federal attention very quickly. And the fact that the gambling has been going on for a while, and even if Valve is not actively turning a blind eye, they're not keeping up with it. And it's going to be bad for them in some way, I think.
Are they making money off of this happening?
A lot.
That's the big thing.
A lot.
Not just seeing this. What after the initial sale or of a key or something, are they making money? You said something about when it traded hands.
Anytime people sell something to anyone over the Steam marketplace, or I guess anytime their Steam account is linked through a third-party website and they sell it that way, if their Steam account's linked to it at all, Valve gets a cut.
And there's no way to transfer items without using the Valve market system. So every time an in-game item is transferred, Valve gets a piece of it every single time.
I think that's going to possibly bite them in the ass. honestly.
I mean, there's also a huge profit not just in gambling, but just in straight up small cosmetic purchases in tons of games too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
GTA has been making.
So again, just to make sure that the $1 billion amount is not all just only gambling, though.
No.
It's
I don't think.
How does anyone know from only gambling and not from just regular purchases?
I think I understand what Joel is saying.
I purchased $400 worth of skins. I didn't sell them to anybody. I'm saying
I don't think that's what
like,
Bloomberg. It's
Okay.
an estimate by Bloomberg.
Okay, but I just wanted to know, is that an estimate to actually like the gambling part of it, or everything all
in-game
together with
items,
everyone
yeah.
buying in-game items
know.
and stuff like that?
Could someone check the Bloomberg article?
I think that's
and-
very. I think that's a
Dave,
very
can
important.
you check into that?
Because basically, I want to know is gambling 10% of the whole thing, or is it like 60% of all those trades? Where it's like, holy shit, you know? Because I that makes a huge difference. If Valve is making it, something where basically 80% of all the money they get from everything from those skins is from gambling, that's 80%. That'd be like, shut this freaking thing down. But
Well,
what if it's 10%?
Joel,
what if it's 10% and
it's
90?
$2.3 billion in online bets.
That's what the article
okay,
says. Yeah, it says
okay.
bets.
and here's some,
I wonder-
here's some
I
more
do wonder
numbers.
what
That's
the
not buying
amount is.
skins. That's not
Yeah.
actually
Okay.
purchasing. The
Here's
initial-
some more numbers. CS:GO Lounge, which is one of 55 sites that offer gambling of these skins.
Whoa.
CS:GO Lounge has a global rank, according to Alexa.com, of 574, which is a measurement of its average daily visitors, 574. By comparison, Hulu is 294. In March, 38 million people visited the site.
Oh my
Their Steam
gosh.
group has 500,000 members. During an ESL 1 match between Fnatic and FaZe, so a professional Counter-Strike match, almost 44,000 accounts bet over 171,000 items. Average per day winnings are $1 million on CS:GO Fast.
That's honestly staggering. That's hard to comprehend because I just don't understand it somewhat.
Now,
you know?
this is based on the supposed value of these items. So again,
Yeah.
that's very much an estimate. There's a lot of wiggle room.
It would be
Even
very
if
nice to
there's-
find the supposed amount of what is Steam making, or people paying
Right.
that legitimately want these items, and that's all they do. They just buy them, kind of like you can buy it in Destiny, a stupid pack of grenades or a outfit or whatever, maybe.
I think what we can tell.
I think that's important to know as well too, because that sounds like a massive amount. I mean, it is a massive amount of money, But I think it is really important to know the other side too, because it's like, yay, okay, they're making $1 billion from gambling. Are they making $6 billion from other people just buying it, or is it like $1 billion from gambling and like $100 million from people legitimately owning stuff and wanting it and not doing this scammy kind of stuff?
Right. That's why it clarified online bets.
Well,
Online
that's
bets,
I think that's really good to know.
It's an estimate, even if they're quite a bit off, and even if some of that's not accurate.
It could be 10%. That's still
Right.
hundreds of millions of dollars.
And
Yeah.
that would still be thousands of dollars Valve would be making in percentages each day. Minimum thousands, I mean, probably tens or possibly over $100,000 a day. Very serious money
Man.
is being made with this.
guys,
So,
it's okay. All that money is going into fund Half-Life 3. All right?
Oh,
It's
okay. call off the FBI,
Yeah, never
guys.
mind.
Call them off.
Now,
Shut it
so-
down. Investigation over.
I'll defend Valve here for a minute. Their business strategy normally, and they're very open about it, is they like making interesting ideas and then putting them out into the market and letting the market do whatever it wants. Which is how they've come up with a lot of the cool things they've done. And it's also how they've pushed Steam machines out to die and they're like they're like Google. Google will start 35 projects a year and 20 of them will be dead in a year. That's just how they work because that's how they innovate. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But that does mean Valve is very silent on things like customer support, keys being revoked from your Steam account that you bought from G2A that may have been stolen, which doesn't really sound like that's Valve's problem necessarily, except they don't seem to verify if those keys have... Anyway. Valve is silent about a lot of things, and a lot of people don't like them. They still use the service because it's probably the best service still, but there are issues with it. But my suggestion would be, why doesn't Valve just revoke the API access for any site caught gambling? That way, if people want to do it, it has to be entirely black market or gray market. I mean, what would you guys think?
I mean, hopefully that does happen. I mean, hopefully we'll hear something kind of more specific from them to find out, what really is going on, what is their thinking on it. Like, hopefully we hear something, now's not the time to be silent, Valve. It's not Half-Life 3. Like, just talk about it and be honest about what's going on and what they are. Because we don't know. We don't know what they have been doing. We don't know all the full specs, the technical details of what actually is really going on.
Okay.
It sounds really horrible, but we also still don't know their side too of like how complicated is it, Because I mean, I see from side. Let's say Jeremiah, you created a site, like not a gambling site, okay? You created something really cool, right? But then you have hundreds of thousands of people that love it and use it correctly. But then you have your 5 or 10% people that abuse it and use it horribly, right? Jeremiah, you made a horrible thing. Like we need to, you need to take it down for the good of humanity. And it's like, I just, okay, well, crap. I was making a lot of money. I was doing really good. I didn't realize, okay, how can I figure this out? You know what I mean? Now all of a sudden it's just crush it, pull it down. I think hopefully we'll hear some answers on what really is going on, what they're going to be able to do to kind of switch it out, to change things up. We don't know. We don't know where that money is going to. Maybe they get from it that it goes into something else. We don't know.
I wanted to propose 2 possible things that Valve could do. I want to see what you guys think of the 2 options. Knowing, like Joel said, we don't know what Valve's been doing, even for the last year behind the scenes. Maybe they're on top of this, maybe they're not. What do you guys think would do them more good, both in the public eye and in the eyes of possibly an upcoming court case, an investigation? Would it be better for them to take their time, carefully review all the options, and come out saying, look, guys, we just weren't prepared for this to explode so quickly. We had a hard time catching up. That's our bad. But here's how we're changing things. Or would it be better for them to say, like, tomorrow, it's all shut down. We're changing how this works. We screwed up. It's stopping here. Like, what's the better option? To take their time or to just come down hard quick?
There's probably something in between. I mean,
I would think for the gambling sites,
announcement.
I think for the gambling sites, the best thing they could do in this current situation, let's assume they haven't done anything yet, because as far as we know, they haven't, but maybe they just haven't announced anything. Yeah. Maybe they're working with law enforcement right now, gathering information, and, maybe Valve is totally cooperating. Nobody knows.
Because remember, back when Half-Life 2 was coming out, the guy who stole all their code, it was a secret thing for like 6 to 8 months. They tried to hire this guy and fly him to Valve to work with their team, but they actually were trying to get him or something like that. So, it would be interesting to see how much they've actually been doing. We don't know. Ben
brings up a good point. We don't know if what's happening is directly against their terms of service, because a lot of this may not technically be illegal yet. Some of what T. Martin and Syndicate did is definitely illegal. Some of this other market isn't necessarily.
If there's underage gambling going on, though,
and if they're gambling in their own. That's true. Yeah, Valve.
Illegal.
Right. But we don't know yet. This falls into we don't really know what's going on yet. So I think the smartest thing Valve could do is update their terms of service to say if you have API access, you may not do these following things, providing Valve thinks it's wrong. Let's assume they do. And then make everybody accept it to continue having API access. So any of those sites will either have to modify very quickly because they're going to go down, they're not going to be able to connect to Valve, or they're going to have to lose their access. And then Valve could immediately start pulling access very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Manuel in chat brings up a point. You can get like a link, a trade link from your Steam account for a certain item that you can send to someone so they can redeem it. We're not sure if that takes API access. Actually, I'm going to Google that a little bit while you guys continue talking about this. Sorry, so I gave my opinion. What do you guys think?
I don't think it does, by the way, but
you don't think it has API
sure.
access?
No, I think it's like a one-time like share link.
Okay.
Kind of like a cart, basically. It creates like a cart for you to check out with that item.
Okay. I'm reading about it. You guys go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be interesting to see what they do, because I mean, if they just straight shut it off and it's like, no word, like what are they doing? Then it's obviously going to look like, holy crap, they're doing something really bad, or what was going on. I think if they are still in the right, and let's say they are working on something, but maybe they are trying to gather a lot more data on these gambling sites so that when the time is right to take it down, you know what I mean? Like it could be also that, like,
could be.
You know what I mean? I don't know. I've been watching a lot of The Americans, and just like one of the concepts I just never really thought about is, what they would bug a place, right? And so let's say the bad guys bug a good conference room for the good guys, right? And they find it. They're like, oh, you should like get rid of it. We don't want this somewhere. Well, let's let it stay there because we can feed information to the bad guys that, will lead them to believe something else and use that to our advantage. So I mean, like, it'd be really cool, hopefully, to find out something like that they've been doing, that they're, that I think it's, first of all, I think they probably knew gambling was going to be something at all, like just at least small, you know what I mean? Like that's always going to happen. Someone's always going to abuse the system, right? So it's like, you shouldn't just let's not ever do anything because someone's going to abuse it. But I think they're probably seeing now that, holy crap, it's being used way more, than possibly imagined, honestly. And so I think hopefully we'll find something out and they'll, start talking about it and, figure out what they're actually going to do. But I think it'd be a little bit weird if it just straight stops and there's nothing, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Hopefully,
yeah.
whenever they do any action, there's got to be a lot of, here's what's going on, here's what we're doing, here's what we're pulling, because you have a lot of
Something they're not good at doing, communicating.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. Yeah, they are not good at communicating whatsoever.
Time to get better quick. Man.
So
what I see is the potential for a bigger issue, and that's I know they tried to pass online gambling laws, an act back in the day, and it didn't pass. I think that's something that could possibly come up out of this as the FTC starts looking at it. If it gets to the level of the Senate starts looking at it, then they're going to have to address are we allowing minors to gamble online, even though if money's not exchanging hands, there is money that's coming out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And in that case, I think Valve would end up being subpoenaed to go to a hearing. So,
I think
Did you find anything?
I can't find for sure whether or not it uses API access, but it does look like the only way they can block this is not allow Steam trading links for skins, which then it would be punishing everybody who was just trading with friends or something.
There's a lot of people. Like, I imagine that even as big as all these gambling sites are, if that many skins are being traded, that's not going to stop. There's a lot of people who are like legitimately really into like these virtual items.
There's even more so. I would say there's tenfold of people that love it. You know what I mean? Because if there's gambling within it, there's got to be a way bigger amount of people that are doing it legitimately to scam,
just trading.
basically.
Yeah.
So let's just to recap the Valve part. There's no evidence they have directly done anything wrong so far, and there's no evidence that their terms of service have been directly violated yet. At worst, based on what we know right now, they are silently allowing this to happen and possibly have provided technical support to some of these sites to function, because these sites aren't doing 100% illegal things. Like, we don't even know how much of this is illegal yet. But just from a purely ethical standpoint, are we kind of all on the same page that regardless of the value that's being wagered, regardless of whether or not minors are involved, regardless of all this type of stuff, should Valve be doing something to introduce some structure to this?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I don't know if Valve is necessarily doing anything wrong, but I don't. Other than the function of their service that they offer for their games, I don't have a lot of respect for them as a company. The way
they're a big business. They run like every other big business, pretty much.
Well, most big businesses have customer support at least.
Well, that's true.
And
But
they have
also work
and they
always
have
like
public
that, too.
relations, and they have
Yeah.
they have a front-facing component. This is just like, you don't know how much we're worth, you don't know what we're doing, you don't know what we're making, and we're not going to tell you how to fix this.
Yeah.
Enjoy our
Well, I mean,
product.
James, wouldn't you agree that they were very much a different company from 2000 to 2007, basically? I mean, there was
yeah.
That's because they weren't making billions of
Up
dollars.
to 2009, yeah. I mean, they went up to, Left 4 Dead and then Portal 2. But, like, after Portal 2,
No,
it's just
it's
gone-
really after Steam took off. Steam has been kind of their.
but
Because-
they weren't so quiet. I mean, they were talking about games back then. But it was after Portal 2, right
Oh,
around
where they
CS:GO,
went silent, where they went
like,
silent.
Dota and CS:GO were
Yeah.
coming out. That's when really things started changing, where it was like, okay, they wouldn't talk about any other games at all. I mean, like, a lot of game companies don't usually talk about a lot about their games, but they'll at least mention something. But then, then it was like, oh, here, you get skins in Team Fortress 2, and you can sell this. And it just started getting a little bit more like, I don't know, it was more lowbrow. Like, really? That's what I think. I mean, people enjoy it, but I think it's like you're starting going down that path where it's not going to be, you're not going to come back very great from it.
The change is very strange too, because Valve has become one of the worst developers for communication and for openness and for just knowing what's going on and being involved with their community in a lot of ways. And it's a really weird and kind of sudden shift, but it's happened.
But I do get a Steam update every day.
Yeah, I do.
And so before we move on to the news and everything else, it's not that gambling skins is necessarily wrong between consenting adults who have won
It's just
stuff.
stupid as hell. That's the stupidest activity.
It's on the fringes, but like I don't necessarily think that's wrong.
No, Jeremiah, we're old and the youth are wrong.
but as long as minors are able to participate and as long as this stuff can be laundered into real money, I think whether or not Valve can stop all of it, Valve has a direct responsibility to step in and curb as much of that as they can, because that is definitely wrong. If the other stuff is wrong depending on your definition, or maybe okay depending on your definition of right and wrong when it comes to gambling, the other stuff is more clearly wrong, and Valve should do something about it. And obviously we don't know what they've done next or done yet, but we'll find out and we'll talk about it on here. I think this is going to be a fascinating, probably months long story.
Yeah.
Ignoring, I don't care about Team Martin and Syndicate. I hope they get the book thrown at them. I think they're kind of dumb kids. I don't hate them. I'm not mad at them necessarily. Like, I think they just did something stupid. They figured out they could make money. They did something unethical. They made a bunch of money and tried to get away with it.
They should probably be made an example of, though, because this has been an issue before. Stuff
probably,
like this.
But like, I don't want them to. I'm not looking for them to make a bunch of videos, sob into their audiences, or lose everything they've ever earned or whatever. Because they were entertainers before this. They worked hard to build their channels up. I think they did something really stupid and they should definitely be punished. But like, I'm not looking for a lot of blood, I guess is what I'm saying. I think they'll be made enough of an example of that, only mean people are going to be wishing they get hurt more. Hopefully this isn't a Hillary Clinton thing where they go, well, guys, they did say they were sorry and they're idiots. So I guess it's okay.
Like, of all ways to like make money in a really dirty fashion, your tombstone is going to say, I made a CSGO gambling site. Like, really?
Didn't disclose it according to legal guidelines.
Lame. Well, I sold skins.
Making the site, I don't care if they made the site. That's one thing. It's the giant conflict of interest of encouraging kids, and they didn't directly encourage it. There is that thing on their website that says, don't gamble if it's against the law in your area, which you should check on. Right. Cool, guys. You did everything you could.
Because that always works on every website you go to.
Right, with no actual age verification. Sure.
Yeah. Yes, Newegg, I will pay the use tax for my products I purchased from your website. Yeah, I got that covered.
Exactly. So like it's, I wouldn't care if they made the website, but they the whole lying about it and encouraging people to use it, whatever. We don't care. We'll briefly cover whatever happens with them. We're not going to dwell on that, though. We're not trying to stir up drama. I think we're more interested in the ethical side of Valve's responsibility as one of the pillars of the PC gaming community and the pillars of esports. I mean, CSGO and Dota together. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, this thing's kind of hurt me in a way. I mean, because I'm serious. I really do look like I love Gabe Newell. Like I love anytime he comes out and talks about stuff. I like the way his mind works about on stuff. Like he was very extremely new about, hey, let's do episodic content or try to come up with ways we can get. I like that. Like, you know what I mean. And I really looked forward to seeing him at keynotes and stuff like that. But really, I feel like the whole Valve as a whole is just like you can't get anything out of him, and I think that's frustrating. Not just as a fan as I demand it, but it's more of like, I feel like part of it is a little bit rude. Like if you're going to open a door, like eventually close it so we can have finality for something, not just for Half-Life, but for a lot of like how you're dealing with stuff. And I always in my mind I like Valve because they didn't seem like they were going to go with the lowbrow stuff. But I didn't realize they did all this skin stuff, trading and all. Gosh, it sounds so dirty, like skin stuff. but I didn't know they did all that. Like I know you could like get hats in Team Fortress 2 and stuff like that. And I think it's just stupid. Whoever does it is stupid. But like I
mean, they give you the hats. You don't have to like go get them yourself. So I don't.
Well, if I can interject here for a second, Joel, I was going to say I think agreeing with Jeremiah, why it's such an interesting story for me is not necessarily just like all this kind of scummy, scammy, fraudulent stuff going on. It's because it's a system so far removed from what I'm interested in that like you said, Joel, it's hard to believe that it's like there, that it's like a thing. Like I don't really understand it. And I remember when they introduced hats to Team Fortress 2, how cool that was, because it was a way for 3D modelers to make some cash.
Yeah.
It was just all cosmetic, and it was really fun back then. Like I remember Polycount, a 3D community held a contest where Valve picked like 5 of their hats to be added to the game. It was like the first fan-made hats added to TF2. And they got checks for like $400,000 after a few months for people buying their hats. And everybody was just really happy. Like, you know, the game's free now. You buy a $3 hat and customize your character. Everybody wins. Everybody's happy. And now it's just progressed.
I feel like this generation is going to be really like the YouTube generation, and not just by like, hey, there's videos online, but YouTube is such a
the identifier.
Access. Yeah, it's such an identifier and an access and a gateway to make money, make fame, to be somebody, or to be cool, or to have, you know, instant gratification from stuff. And can I say one last thing regarding this with Pokemon Go? Like, I mean, I don't really know much about it, but I was reading about it today.
I know that everybody I know on Twitter is playing it, apparently.
Yeah, I think it's a really cool idea. But we were working on Norman visual effects stuff today, but we had a break. We had pizza. Steven bought us pizza from the future. He shipped us pizza. It was pretty awesome. But anyways, we were eating pizza and we were talking about the game, and Sam was saying how there's been a couple people that have literally, like, police stations have had to stop people because they go into police stations collecting like the Pokemon that randomly occur in that area. And I was like, that kind of made me laugh, but I was like, then it made us think of some even deeper issues, right? Because of YouTube, because it's so easy to make video content and to make that one viral video could potentially change your life. That's the difference. It's not just, hey, I'm getting it online. This could potentially change my life. So think of this. What if there's a Pokemon or a thing like near the edge of a cliff? Or near something like that. The thing is, or like someone has
on
to
a highway.
or on like a middle of a highway, or on something like that. That person wants to get it outside of just loving the game, because it is such a high, like, it's a big name. This is Pokemon. This is not just like Joel's Catch 'em All game. You know what I mean? This is a huge IP that someone might do that who's maybe a streamer as well. That's like, oh man, if I get that and like it all turns out good, this is a viral video right here, you know? And so, to summarize, we are basically thinking, what do you do as a company, right? Because I think that's a great game. You're always going to have stupid people doing stupid stuff. There was a game that came out on iPhone before that was similar like that, and there was a couple people that died because they walked into roads. That's happened, right? There's always going to be dumb people that are not looking where they're going and everything, right? You can't help that. But because Pokemon is such a massive IP, like Zelda or whatever, that's so huge that you're going to have such a huge amount of people playing it. I, as a developer, I'd be like, all right, so yeah, it's not our fault, but how can we try to do something a little extra to mitigate? Is it worth having our popular game out there that people are going to be stupid and do it? That, like, I would rather have the stupid people alive than the stupid people dead, you know? It was just an interesting thought.
Does anyone have anything else before we wrap the topic up? I have 2 things to end the topic.
I'm good.
All right. The first thing is, when anything happens like this with a large company, again, Set, T. Martin, and Syndicate, and anyone else who comes out who is a part of this, because there's a lot of people who have been doing Counter-Strike betting videos. When anything happens with a large company like this, and you're mad at the company, or like Joel, you're disappointed because you respect the company. Here's a good analog. Maybe this helps Joel. General Motors, giant car company, one of the largest in the world, knowingly, for years, sold vehicles with an ignition in them that, in certain conditions, the car could catch fire. Or it could prompt crashes. I mean, it's complicated. I'm not going to get... Anybody who knows about this case is going to be screaming at their speakers right now going, that's not all. Like, trust me, I'm very familiar with the case. The short version is, there was a life-threatening problem in many of their cars if certain conditions were met, but a number of people crashed and a number of people died, and they knew about it for years and did not fix it because paying the fines would be cheaper than retrofitting cars and doing a recall. Everybody at General Motors is not evil. And I mean, Joel, you know this.
Yeah.
I'm encouraging for people out there. Everybody at General Motors is not evil. Everybody at General Motors didn't know about this. Probably most of the people at General Motors would have been very, very angry if they knew this was going on in the background. But that doesn't mean some people at a company can't make a bad decision or a short-sighted decision or a careless decision or a decision they thought was good and ended up being bad. And it's important to keep in mind, unless you know the real story, unless you know behind the scenes, it's probably best to not assume too much. And we've theorized a lot about what Valve could do or could not do, or what maybe the responsibility is from stuff that we know publicly. But we're not going to tell you that Valve is in the wrong in this because we don't know. And when we know, we'll talk to you guys about it, but we don't know. And then the last thing is, Dave and I both have YouTube channels that have grown quite a bit in the past year or two. So thank you guys for all your support. And the podcast has also been growing very well. And because of that, Dave and I mean, we don't have big channels, but I guess by the definition, of a gaming channel, I mean, it's big enough that other people post their Fallout mod compilations and half the comments are people going, why don't you have Evil Viking 13 mods in here, you idiot? And there's a bunch of people on Reddit who have never even met me who think I'm an idiot purely based off the words potato masher. So, we've reached that level of fame, but nothing, no real fame. Tiny YouTube channel famous. But because of that, we have had opportunities offered to us that we definitely would not have 4 or 5 years ago. Would you say that's fair, Dave?
Yeah.
There have been opportunities to make money doing different things. Some of it ethical, maybe some of it not so ethical, depending on your definition of ethical when it comes to running a channel and making recommendations to people and telling people about games you enjoy, games you are playing, games you recommend that they play.
Not true, Jeremiah. All Machinima partners were really excited about the Xbox One.
Oh yeah, this is Syndicate's third strike, by the way. He's already dealt with the FTC, so that'll be fun. But so I say that to say, if and when we are ever sponsored, and I would like this podcast to be sponsored, I would like this podcast to make money, and I won't apologize for it, because I think if you do a good job at something, there's no reason you shouldn't be able to get paid for doing it. Mm-hmm. But if we ever are sponsored, and if we ever do have opportunities to make money with our channels or this podcast, you will know about it. We will tell you, and we expect you to hold us accountable for anything you think is weird, like the April Fool's episode where people were asking if we were actually sponsored by Doritos and GameStop and Mad Cats.
Power to the player.
Never feel bad about calling us on it if you're not sure about something, because we will tell you. We'll tell you if we get free keys to review a game. We'll tell you about any of that. Because we never want you to listen to this podcast or watch our channels and not know if we're being straight with you or not. Because
we also don't want you to lose money, which is why we traded in all of our used accessories at GameStop.
Where you can save 10%.
There's a new feature coming up on GameStop. Yeah, there's a Mad Catz promotion coming up. You just roll the thing, you put the money in, you see what you get. So we tried it out. We thought it was pretty fun. We just kind of heard about it.
A friend sent it to us.
Dude, when I did it, what a feeling it was. Yeah.
What a great feeling to win that.
Now imagine how much better the feeling would have been if I was young, like a minor, maybe with daddy's credit card and a very loose sense of right and wrong. But yeah,
I mean, I bet his site's going to be down soon. We could always pick up that, that .com. Start it right back up.
But yeah, we would just, in case any of you guys listening didn't know, we take this very seriously, and I obviously will never go into specifics. Both Dave and I have passed up several interesting opportunities to make money off ethically questionable behavior, and that doesn't mean neither of us would like to be sponsored for certain things, because both of us definitely would, and neither of us are opposed to that on principle. But
Jeremiah passed up an opportunity titled "My Potato Masher."
Oh my goodness! All right,
GTX 360.
That's the main topic. And next, we're going to cover the news. So, first thing we're going to talk about is the GTX 1060 has been announced. The GTX 1060 is obviously the next card that's replacing the 960. It's the cut down version of the 1070 1080. So the 1070 has an MSRP of $380 and the 1080 MSRP of $600, Dave. Not for Founders Edition, just MSRP of the regular
600,
card.
yeah.
The MSRP of this card, I believe, is going to be $250 or $300. I think the kind of going right now is going to be somewhere around $280. There's people have confirmed numerous things back and forth, so don't get too excited about any confirmed stuff you've seen so far unless Nvidia says it. But they are promising GTX 980 performance for less than $300. Probably an MSRP, I believe, of $250, but that does not mean any cards will actually sell for $250, which is why I'm saying, regardless of what people say, don't read too far into it. But that could be very competitive because that would put it pretty similar to an RX 480 for pretty similar money, unless you get the 4 gigabyte version of a 480. Like if you don't need 8 gigs of VRAM and you can get it for $200, that's obviously a much better deal. But if this is between a 970 and 980 and it's selling for less than $300, $250, $300, that's pretty cool. That could be a pretty attractive card. 6 gigs of VRAM. And
5.5
teraflops?
No, 5.5 gigs of RAM.
Oh, I'm just kidding. 6.
I was going to say that for an X60 card, which is like NVIDIA's, third tier, I guess, card?
Yeah.
Right? That's a really impressive offering.
Fourth if you're counting the TI version.
Which comes later in the generation. So it's their third primary tier card. It's a really good time to be a gamer at 1080p because you can get a card that, a year ago was like $550 for far less. Turn everything up to ultra at like 120 FPS. Like, it's pretty nuts.
Yeah, it is.
They can't play Uncharted though.
No, that's very true, and people do point that out to me on a regular basis.
Man, I gotta return my card. I didn't realize I couldn't play Uncharted. That changes everything.
Nobody thinks it's funny that their PS4 can't run Microsoft Office or the Adobe collection.
No one wants to.
But I enjoy
that's a feature.
But I enjoy making the joke every single time.
It's like, oh yeah, how are you gonna do your taxes on your PS4?
Now, if I was gonna guess, I'm gonna say this card's basically going to be like a high bind 970 in performance. So the 970 overclocked is pretty dang close to a 980. But wait for reviews. As always, don't spend money on something you don't know about yet. And if you don't have a preference between the two brands, the RX 480 is an awesome card, and you can pick one of those up right now. They're in stock all over the place. So, James, you've got a very interesting stat. I almost did not believe it when I saw your headline. Nearly half of all Steam gamers are running Windows 10. What's the deal with that?
I was shocked because looking at, I've done a lot of work with web analytics and stuff, and seeing what operating systems people are on is quite staggering.
Especially how many people are using old stuff.
Yes. And so when I saw this, I was like, really? Apparently 44.6% of Steam users are on Windows 10. Now, I imagine
they have to.
I imagine like only 10% of those really wanted to switch. The other 30-some% did it by accident.
They're like, something looks different. Oh, well.
They went to microwave a burrito, and Windows is like, oh, is it time? It's happening.
He's away, guys. He's away.
I thought of a good joke. Oh, remind me later.
Not arable.
I would say though that I don't know what the stats are for the operating system adoption in the past, just because I just don't
lower than that.
Care.
Way lower than that.
You know what this tells me?
But it feels like operating systems were usually a lot slower to adopt.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the giving the free upgrade has really helped Microsoft get everybody on somewhat of a level playing field.
Yeah.
I was going to say, James, if one thing, if Steam sales have taught us one thing, it's that Steam gamers do love everything cheap, and free is very cheap. Therefore, all the Steam users are installing the free operating system. It's the best sale out there.
And I think it may be time with Xbox Play Anywhere. It might be time for me to go Windows 10. I've been using it on my old laptop for months. I'm using it on the Potato Masher now. I'm using it on my other laptop. Honestly, my biggest issue with Windows 10 right now is I'm going to have to do a clean install. And I've been putting that off as long as I can. But I think it might be time. Go ahead and upgrade the boot drive. Go ahead and install Windows 10. I've got till the end of July to do it. Just so I'm ready for Forza Horizon 3, mostly.
Elect Jack and said, in chat said, great thing about Windows 10, you aren't bugged to update to Windows 10 anymore.
Yeah, I didn't want to upgrade to 8.1. I did that because I got a 4K monitor and I needed the scaling because Windows 7's hardware scaling
is the free upgrade gone now?
No, you have until July 28th or 29th, I believe.
Because I haven't seen a update. I haven't seen a little.
Oh, I do.
Pop up. Oh man, I've gotten lucky.
Sometimes it goes like a week or two, and other times it pops up and it's like, you have 5 seconds to click this button or you're getting Windows 10. I'm like, no!
It's like they cancel the nuke launch.
Power down button. Like, would you like to power down? Yes. Like, as you click it, the button fades away. Install Windows 10. No.
My other big
That's how
issue
it is. That's how it is with my dual boot. Like I had Windows 7 on one partition and 10 on another, and when I forget, for some reason 7 was the default for the longest time, and I would turn the computer on and walk away like shit, like running over to like catch 7 so I didn't have, or 10 so I didn't have to restart the computer and do all that crap.
And I think my other big problem with Windows 10 is my biggest problem with OS X, not Macs in general, but OS X is, I wish they would just give me the advanced options. Like, there are ways to do advanced versions of all this stuff. With Windows 10, I wish I didn't have to jump through the additional stupid menu that's supposed to be cutesy and nice and easy to use to actually do the thing I want to do. I wish there was like a professional mode you can put it in where it doesn't bother you with all the nanny stuff, and it turns all the report to Microsoft stuff off. It lets you choose your updates, and it gives you like the real control panel and stuff. Like, if you could do that really quickly and easily, I would be over it sooner. But I think I'm gonna.
It's called shortcuts.
I wonder if we'll see like Windows remasters.
I would be.
Like,
I wish I didn't have to. Is what I'm saying, James. I wish I didn't have to fight with it to get it to be where I want it to go.
The one benefit of using 8 before it had the start bar, and I tried a third party and it worked okay. I got so used to just typing in programs instead of like clicking through stuff that now that's my preferred method to launch anything. Is just use that search bar.
My preferred method's hit the Windows key and start typing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And I'm using a start screen replacement thing, so I actually get the regular start bar just like it was before.
Yeah.
But anyway, James, as our resident Nintendo conspiracy theorist, Nintendo has filed a patent.
This was on a IGN, so it can't be. But so
yeah, but I mean,
theory.
Nintendo, yeah. I'm not saying it's a conspiracy theory that they've done this. They definitely have done this, but what will come of this, who knows? But what is it? What's the patent?
So the patent is for a single screen handheld device, touchscreen.
Okay.
Now I don't know if this is going to end up being a system, or it's going to end up being a format for them to add a controller to games on a smartphone. What I imagine it'll be is it'll be Nintendo's next handheld. And if I had to guess, they're going to try to unify their handheld device with their smartphone market reach to try to, get people used to both. And that would make a ton of sense for them to go to a single screen this time around, since it works so well on a phone for most things.
Right. Okay, and Dave, what's going on with Fallout's amusement park DLC, Nuka World?
You guys remember that Bethesda increased the price of the season pass for Fallout 4 in February from $30 to $50?
Because of the value?
Well, they
the
said
value
it's
of the content they're going to give you?
What they said at the time was that we're planning a lot more Fallout 4 DLC than we'd originally planned for. And I got really excited because there's a lot of DLC over like about a year and a half for Skyrim, for Fallout 3, and a couple for New Vegas as well. So I was hoping for like, a good 16 months of DLC, kind of like most companies do these days, as extend the life of the game.
5 story DLCs.
Yeah. What we got was so far 2 just workshop DLCs, cool ones. Don't get me wrong, adds contraptions and machines and stuff like that, but it's literally just adding things to the settlements for you to build. We got one very good story-based DLC, Far Harbor, pretty good size, one of their largest land masses according to Bethesda so far. I haven't finished it yet, but I've been impressed with everything besides the frame rate. It's been quite good.
That's probably your own fault somehow.
I've tested, James. I actually took my settings from ultra down to low, and I gained 10 FPS total in Far Harbor.
Wow.
It's really bad. And on PS4, it was a slideshow when it first launched. Like, it was like 12 on the PS4.
It was bad enough they pulled the DLC and then re-released it again, like as soon as they could get it fixed. Like that's pretty rare. Like,
yeah,
that's Arkham Knight bad.
And coming up this month, now that the 2 workshop DLCs and then Far Harbor, the story-based DLC, are passed, we're getting a Vault DLC, which is a really cool idea. And I think this came from the popularity of their mobile game, the Vault game. You'll be able to have a bit of a story where like you go and discover a few characters at a Vault Tech vault building location, and then you take control and you get to build a vault populate it with settlers and then actually do experiments, like Vault-Tec experiments, like the kind of monolithic Vault-Tec Corporation did on the dwellers and your settlers. So it's not really a story-based DLC, and it's not really a workshop DLC. It's like somewhere in the middle, right? But it is primarily like a sandbox DLC, it's a building one. And then we get Nuka World coming up early August, I want to say, or late July, sometime after the Vault DLC, maybe I think actually August. And it's going to be a Nuka Cola themed theme park with multiple theme park zones where you can take control of a raider gang. And I've heard you'll be able to like attack your other settlements, which is kind of a cool concept.
So it's like, you all are screwed.
Yeah, I'm gonna like take control of this raider group and be like, no, guys, you should get all your supplies together, like all your best loot, take it to these settlements because you're gonna be able to take them over and then just move in, and I'll just gather all of their bodies outside of my walls. But what we've learned is, although this will be a story DLC, it is the last DLC entirely for Fallout 4, which really surprised me. That was quite the price jump for a lot of workshop DLC, I think. It's not super clear how much content Nuka World's going to have. Like I said, it's going to have some story. But it's implied that it's not going to be as big as Far Harbor was for sure. And it's just kind of surprised me compared to their previous games, and also the fact that they did increase the season pass price, that they're cutting it off kind of early.
Well, compare it to Witcher 3. I mean,
that's not even fair. It's just,
I mean, seriously, I mean, you're getting a lot of new story.
I had a bit of an argument with Joel over this just because it's really not a fair comparison, but Far Harbor is $25 if you buy it by itself. And it's got like a 18-ish hour campaign. It's got a new island to explore. I think like 5 new weapons and stuff like that. And then Blood and Wine, if you pre-ordered it, was $18, and it was The Witcher 3.5. Like it's a huge small game. It's not an expansion pack. It's a huge expansion pack or a small game. Not a super fair comparison because CDPR just goes above and beyond. But it is hard in a year with so much Witcher DLC coming out for so cheap, with so much content, to look at them increasing the price of the Fallout season pass and going, yeah, that's a fair deal.
And lastly, we talked last week about the Radeon RX 480's power consumption issues, where it's been tested from a couple sites. It was pulling too much power through its PCI slot. AMD has released a patch, driver version 16.7.1, that has a number of fixes. The main thing, or the takeaway, is the system can now better, with this new driver, can better manage how it pulls power from which sources, and that should let it only pull the right amount from the PCI slot, not go over the PCI Express spec, and pull the rest of it through the power plug. And the Sapphire RX 480 that's been announced, the aftermarket version, has an 8-pin, so it won't even be an issue for those. But now it is time to talk about what are we playing this week. The part of the show where we talk about what are we playing this week. So, James, what are you playing?
Played a couple games off of the Steam sale. Okay. One of them was a Max Payne 3, which I had for PS3, and I just, for some reason, couldn't get into it. Figured I'd try it out again since it was $5. And I played it all the way through, and I really enjoyed it.
That's a fun game.
I'd played the first 2, so it was fun. It wasn't really a great continuation of the story, but it was a continuation of the character, at least for me. Mm-hmm. I was really, really impressed by the animations of the AI characters. Not necessarily the ones that would come out and shoot you, but just as you're walking down the street and people are like moving and talking to each other. Like if you squinted, you would feel like you're really looking at real footage because of the quality of motion capture they did. And since it's not like GTA where it's all, running scripts and stuff like that, they're literally just kind of there. They're not trying to walk down the street and do stuff. I think they could do a lot more with the animations. I was impressed. I mean, it's not that new of a game. It's last generation, but it was a lot of fun. And then Joel and I played Sven Co-op, which is basically based on Half-Life 1.
Yep.
And it's just a bunch of user-created content. And at first I was like, all right, this is okay. This is kind of stupid. We were on this one level with like, I don't know if it was like a hospital or something.
Yeah, it was I think like Insane Asylum kind of, I don't know, something like that.
Like, this is steep. We're all like trying to figure out where to go, what to do, blah, blah. I finally find this window. We can go out to the roof. We're trying to figure out how to trigger something. Finally, Joel and I jump down to like this little ledge and go in a window. And Joel ends up dying somehow. And I'm walking by myself and I'm walking in this room. And like, oh, cool, there's a lever here. What happens when I pull this? And I pull it and the lights go out for everybody in the whole building. And then all of a sudden there's zombies all throughout the entire place. And they're not like really good animated zombies. Their heads are like going... It was kind of freaky. So, I mean, then it became really fun just because it was just a lot of stupid fun at that point.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
Joel, what about you?
I've been playing a crap ton of Twilight Princess. Really enjoying that. And playing through System Shock 2.
Mm-hmm.
Game is amazing. Loving it. It is super immersive. If you liked BioShock, pick it up on GOG. The Steam version doesn't work that well, but the GOG version, they kind of did a couple tweaks to make it run on modern computers, or at least like Windows, I guess. And it's a blast. And it's you'll be proud of me, Dave. It's the first time in a very, very long time that I've installed any kind of mods. And I did a couple of them online because it was pretty easy to do. That kind of tweaked a few things just to make it run a little bit better. Not really a lot of graphical mods, but more of just a few things that would help make it run easier on a modern system.
Joel, I hate to tell you, but you can't count yourself as diving back into mods if you're just like doing like fan-made patches for the game. That's not modding. That's just fixing the game. That does not count.
No, it added a few things. I mean, so that's not modding.
So it added a few features. I mean, for you, I know how much you hate customizing your experience.
I had to get a not a mod launcher, but it was like a mod handler that had to install, and then you pick a few different mods to run, and then you click run, and then it runs.
Okay, let's see if you can pass the test, though.
You're the hipster of mods now, like, oh, that's not truly a mod.
Let me ask this question. If you could have selected that mod that only made it run better, but kept all the experience completely vanilla, would you have chosen that one instead?
I mean, maybe, I guess. Like I went for the one that someone put like a whole thing together, and I did that because there was literally like 60 different things you could install. So I went for the one that was just, okay, I'll install all of this and I'll go for it, and then I'll delete some if something doesn't work. But it worked, so I've kept it. So I don't like the fact that it's not in like Steam. It's just, I don't know, it's like a regular exe on my computer, and I'm like, my save files could totally die.
I need to tell you guys.
Joel, your save files can die if it's on Xbox Live, if it's on PSN.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where.
Your death follows you everywhere.
Yeah.
The Grim Reaper is always hanging over your shoulder when you play.
The save game Reaper.
So I turn away, it's like the save file's gone. No. But
You're going to lose the cloud one day because of you.
here's something, the something about System Shock 2 that I really enjoyed is that I felt like it truly took advantage of using an actual computer to play the game. It had a it has a very complicated UI that's not like well designed, but because it's kind of like a sci-fi kind of like sci-fi future punk type thing, atmosphere, the more interaction and the more buttons and stuff got me more immersed into this world of the game as opposed to just simple couple buttons and stuff, where I think, BioShock Infinite was much more simplified for what you can interact with. And I was like, man, I miss some good PC games that are designed specifically only for the PC, that are just like that kind of thing, that are first person shooter based, that are like, this is like this, I can only have this experience on computer, not for the graphics necessarily, but how you interact with everything. I really enjoyed that.
So you're saying if it was on PS4, you wouldn't play it right now?
I mean, maybe, but like, I mean, if I played it first, but like, I'm enjoying
a hard time for what he's playing this segment.
To give you an idea, like, there's all sorts of buttons all over the place. Like, the reason I don't like keyboard and mouse, I like it for simple stuff. But when it comes to complications, like, why do I have to reach over to the freaking minus button to do a flashlight? I mean, like, I know you can exchange keys, but it's like, who designed this? Like, that's so dumb. But there's like the U button for playing various like interview stuff. You can press the P button for like a psycho, like various little like things you can inject and get different powers.
So it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, like it felt more like because it has to do with hacking and stuff like that. So that enhanced the experience, not took away. Where it's like I mean, like it's not a very comfortable keyboard position to like be pressing all these buttons far away. But because of the way the game is made, I think it actually enhanced it quite a lot.
Was it an emotional experience? Like, was the controlling emotional?
The game is pretty interesting.
How about the
story's
controlling?
good. It could be.
Yeah.
Emotion controls?
It feels good with the mouse and keyboard and controls for. That's all I can say. It just feels good with it, and I would love to like, damn it, Half-Life, come out with something because I want to use a mouse and keyboard for that game.
I mean, there are plenty of other games you can use a mouse and keyboard for.
Yeah, there's some, but they don't feel as good.
Have you tried
They really
Doom
don't.
yet?
Yeah, it's okay.
Did you try it on PC?
Yeah,
Really?
it's okay. Yeah.
Have you tried
Actually, well,
Bioshock on the PC?
It's hard, but it's like I don't know. It's kind of boring to me.
How far did
Yeah.
you play?
I played like
You played like 2 minutes of the demo.
no. I mean I played a lot
I
on the
watched
PS4
you.
too as well, but
Are you
like
talking
I
about
just
Doom?
didn't like the
Oh, the online.
yeah.
The online's dumb. Don't worry about the online.
No, not online. I mean I just like
If you crank up the difficulty and get more than 20 minutes into the game and you still think it's boring.
but just shooting things like that doesn't excite me.
oh,
really.
just
That's like,
shooting.
yay.
Okay. I guess it's not
Well,
like
I mean,
just
like,
running around and hitting pots game.
I never liked Doom when it came out as well. Like
That's fair
just
enough.
like it's just crazy mindless shooting. I don't like that.
Fair enough. Dave, how about you?
I have played a lot of the Creation Kit in the last couple of weeks. I think I was telling either Joel or John that, just as an example of how much time I spent on that stupid mod, I haven't played The Witcher 3 in over 2 weeks now.
Whew.
And that just came out in the beginning of June. Like it's my game of the year. I put it aside. I'm looking forward to playing that again this weekend. Played a bunch of Battlefront with Joel last night. A lot of fun.
Did you play Battlefield?
I've been playing a lot of Battlefield 1, and I want to talk about it soon because the NDA just dropped last night, and I can talk about it. TLDR for me so far is I wish, kind of like Hardline, they were embracing the theme a little bit more as far as differentiating the gameplay from Battlefield 3 and 4, but they're doing a fantastic job at making it a far better game than Battlefield 4. It's not as cluttered, not as bloated, it's running better. It is embracing the World War I theme quite well. And I've played 8 hours of the alpha in like just over a week. So yeah, it's very enjoyable so
Did you
far.
see any snipers up in the sky?
There has been at least a couple of squads worth of people I've seen on top of the stupid balloon. and one of the moments that just had me
My
laughing.
mission's gone.
The moment where like I'm in World War I, the game is great, the destruction's amazing. It's a little bit laggy and glitchy being in alpha, but I'm having fun. The moment where I literally just told Edgar, "Yep, this is a Battlefield game." I had a little armored car, World War I armored car, just driving around super fast. I see a bunch of scope glints on the hillside outside of the British spawn. I'm like, "Oh look, Edgar, there's like 5 snipers in a row along this hill." I just drove along the hillside, boop, 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 smashed them all, and drove down the hill with like all these ragdolled snipers attached to the hood of my car. Yep, this is a Battlefield game. All the snipers in the back of the map. That's what I've been playing this week.
I've played a little bit of it, and I think I'm with you on the gameplay. Like, after 10 minutes of playing, I'm like, oh, well, this is Battlefield 3. I really hate that everybody can get automatic weapons so quickly. Like, I was really hoping this was going to be a lot slower and a lot more tactical, and it's going to play like Battlefield. Or the last couple Battlefields.
I mean, how far back were you going to have to go before it can actually get tactical?
Yeah, I don't know. But
Civil War, Napoleon.
I had higher hopes, and it sounds like maybe they had higher plans that kind of caved because people want to play Battlefield, which is okay. I like the setting. I'm looking forward to playing more of it. I want to play in a beta or something, but I'm not blown away yet. Like it feels like a pretty good Battlefield game right now. That's about it.
One quick note, Jeremiah, on the automatic weapon thing, because I had the same opinion at first. Although they kind of threw the automatic weapons in your face, like the submachine guns and stuff, I've been very happy with how they've treated the bolt actions and the semi-autos, the rifles. If you choose those instead, they are worth your time. And I like that they kind of put the submachine guns out there to make people who just want to hop in and shoot happy. But it does feel like they're giving the actual period correct, more common weapons some love and attention too.
No, we'll see. I'm curious to play it in beta and see what I think. But I had issues with Doom. Doom had an update and deleted my saved game, and I was going to have to start the whole thing over, and I was actually really mad about that. Did some Googling. Lazy update they pushed out. It did this to a lot of people. It renamed the saves and pushed them into a different folder. So I had to drag them into a different folder and then enter developer mode so it didn't think my save was corrupted. So now I can't get any Steam achievements, which I don't really care about, but for a lot of people, they might. And so now if I want to finish the rest of the game, I have to do that with in developer mode, which is officially we think you're cheating mode. So didn't really appreciate that, but I've been practicing a lot more with my Logitech G920. Playing some Forza, Project Cars, and Dirt Rally. I'm pretty comfortable in Dirt Rally now. Still not super fast, but I'm feeling like I'm doing much smoother transitions now, and I really like having the handbrake mapped to the clutch. It's a really
Oh, nice. That's a good idea.
yeah, because I'm not manually shifting in that game either. Because in most rally cars, you use a sequential transmission anyway. You're not using an H-gate shifter, just because of the violence of driving a rally car. So if I decide I want to shift, I think I can work mine to be an H-gate, and I could just do it with an automatic clutch, so I wouldn't have to use that. But I like having the clutch as the handbrake. And then in Project Cars and Forza, I'm driving full H-gate 6-speed stick with a clutch. I'm really enjoying that so far. I've got my kind of vibration settings kind of dialed in. I think, Joel, you know this. Each game you want to play, you got to spend a little while getting the wheel set up so it feels right for you.
Yeah.
But once you do, I was cleaning up in Forza. I was doing so much better. There was a couple championships I hadn't entered because the cars were so powerful that they were a little bit squirrely. And it was frustrating to keep doing them over and over. And with the wheel, I was cruising through some of them. Just the normal like track transitions and braking while braking into a turn, trail braking, just all kinds of stuff like that. Scandinavian flick. I did a Scandinavian flick on a Forza track on asphalt, which I've never done before. It's not a smart thing to do on asphalt. I'm not saying that's the right way to do it, but I feel like I'm getting a lot more control. It's a real thing, Joel. You're laughing about it.
No, I just like you had to like, you guys just don't listen to what I said. Like you have to like,
Well, no,
who cares? Just say it.
No, I care. I care about cars. I like cars a lot. It's important to me. It's not a smart way to drive necessarily, but I like that I've got the option to do it. So I'm really enjoying the wheel so far. I'm making plans for the driving simulator thing I want to try to build, but that's what I've been playing. So
Is it getting you more excited for Sunday?
yes,
Your first race?
unless I break something.
Yeah, but don't break something. If you break your steering wheel in your office, it's okay. If you break your car, I mean.
Well, I did check because apparently in northern climates, a common thing on spiders is the steering linkage, the universal joint in the steering shaft, can rust and break on people. I checked mine; it looks fine. There's a tiny little bit of surface rust just from being exposed, but it's very normal car stuff. Mine's lived in the South most of its life. So, mail time. You can write into casualshenanigans@gmail.com to be a part of the show, just like Steven can. Steven wrote in and said, years and years ago, I wanted to build a PC, but I always thought it would be way too hard and expensive. Your guys' podcast was what re-inspired me to build one, especially the Potato Masher reveal. Finally, I have my very own custom-built gaming PC that actually, when all things are considered, cost me less than buying my PlayStation 4 when it first came out. Thank you all for inspiring the build, which I will be naming after what you guys pick. He wants us to name it, as without us, it would not have come into existence. Thanks again, your longtime viewer, Steven.
Can I have the first go at this, Jeremiah? Because I
All
got
right.
something.
All right.
He was inspired by the Potato Masher, right? He enjoys the podcast.
Yeah.
We already had the Potato Masher. What about the Waffle Stomper?
Oh,
That's pretty good. That's a lot better than what I was just thinking.
what were you thinking?
Oh, no.
Nothing.
I was thinking Lil Spud.
Oh,
Ben just wrote Lil Spud in chat. Wow. Okay. I was also thinking Son of the Masher. Could be a funny name. I mean, I don't. You don't name it after us, but just thinking of dumb names. I like the Waffle Stomper. I kind of like Lil Spud. Do you have anything,
yeah.
James?
I like Little Spud.
Filthy fries.
The Filthy Fries. and the good old standby. Piss in my mouth. Write it on the case in large letters. But also, hey, if you guys have a good name for it, leave it in the comments of this video, and Steven can check the podcast video if he wants to see other people's suggestions. I think the two winners over here, though, are the Waffle Stomper and Lil Spud. But send us a picture of your computer. I'd love to see it, and maybe a parts list. I think it would be cool to check it out. But or the Weird Stranger, Ultragrunt suggests. I don't know if I recommend that. That's a little too weird. But thank you for writing in, Steven. As always, guys, you can write into casualshenanigans@gmail.com to be part of the show. You can tweet at casualshenanigans. We'll read your tweets if you guys ask us a question as well. At our discretion, of course. You can go check us out on our website, casualshenanigans.com, where you can download Joel's game, The Magic Castle of the Lost Knight, starring all of your favorite Casual Shenanigans hosts and other members of the community you may or may not know. Go check it out. Joel, we are officially at well over 100 downloads.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess people are enjoying it, but everybody else, go check it out. If you haven't already, it's pretty fun. Works on PC or Mac. Follow the directions if you're on Mac or it won't work.
You need at least a GTX 780.
Yes.
At least.
Yes.
And now,
Yeah, for Max.
Actually, I have a
graphics.
hexacore. How many cores is that, Joel?
Hexaquan.
How many cores is that?
Hexaquan 5000.
and Joel, you can now add game developer to your Homer Simpson style list of jobs you've done. Snowplow, nuclear scientist, game developer, film director, graphic designer, bread baker.
But thank you everybody for coming out. Thank you for watching the show and being part of it every week. We will see you guys next week. But until then, stay casual.